No guide, no protection, no help. She burrows alone into the soil, where the foundation of an entire kingdom will be built. The queen excavates a small chamber, just large enough to turn.
Have you ever looked down at a single ant and wondered, how can such a tiny creature create a vast, orderly, and enduring society? The answer is not strength, it is not individual intelligence. It begins with the way ants reproduce. In the world of ants, reproduction is not a personal instinct, but a collective mission. An ant colony does not exist for individuals. Individuals exist for the colony. At the heart of everything stands the queen ant, the only being responsible for continuing life. She does not rule by command. She does not fight. She does not search for food. Her entire existence is devoted to a single purpose, creating life. But becoming a queen is not a privilege granted to all. Inside a typical ant nest, thousands, sometimes millions, of ants work tirelessly. Most of them will never reproduce. They accept a harsh biological truth. My existence is so that others may be born. This quiet sacrifice is the foundation of the ant's extraordinary power. When environmental conditions align, gentle rain, warm temperatures, humid air, the colony awakens. From deep underground, a special generation emerges, winged reproductive ants. The moment is silent, unnoticed by the world above. Yet it is a decisive turning point where the future lives of millions are placed at stake. Part 1 ends here, as the wings begin to tremble, signaling a flight that will change everything.
The fatal flight, the harshest reproductive moment in an ant's life. If Part 1 was silent preparation, then Part 2 is the explosion of destiny. On a very specific day of the year, the sky becomes a stage of life and death. From hundreds, even thousands, of ant nests, winged ants emerge simultaneously. Some behind small cloud, this is no coincidence. Ants wait for perfect conditions. High humidity, so wings do not dry out. Warm temperatures to allow long flights. Gentle winds to avoid being blown away. Backend index pointing right, when everything aligns, the nuptial flight begins. 1. When the sky fills with tiny lives. Tens of thousands of ants take to the air at once. To humans, it looks like just a swarm of insects. To ants, it is the only chance to continue their species. Male ants are born for a single purpose: mating. They do not build nests. They do not gather food. They have no future. Broken heart after fulfilling their role, male ants die quickly. Their lives end at the very moment when new life begins. 2. The future queen, bearer of an entire colony's fate. Amid the storm of wings, female ants mate not once, but multiple times with different males. The sperm is stored inside their bodies and used for many years, sometimes decades. Pushpin, this is a biological miracle, one single flight. Enough for a lifetime of reproduction. When mating is complete, the female descends to the ground. From that moment on, she is no longer an ordinary ant. Backend index pointing right, she has become a future queen. 3. The price of reproduction, giving up the sky. The first thing a future queen does after the flight is break off her own wings. Scissors, this is not an accident. It is a biological decision. Wings are no longer needed. The age of flight has ended. A new life begins underground. The act resembles a silent vow. From this day forward, I no longer live for freedom, but for life itself. Backend index pointing right, Part 2 ends here, as the future queen disappears into darkness, carrying within her body the seeds of an entire kingdom yet to be born.
After the fateful flight, the future queen disappears from the world of light. No guide, no protection, no help. She burrows alone into the soil, where the foundation of an entire kingdom will be built. The queen excavates a small chamber, just large enough to turn around. The entrance is sealed. Light is cut off. The outside world no longer exists. From this moment on, the queen never leaves the nest. She does not search for food. She does not encounter other creatures. Life enters its harshest phase, biological fasting. The queen lays her first eggs. But a crucial question arises: where does the energy come from? The answer is astonishing. The queen breaks down her now useless wing muscles, uses stored body fat, converts her own tissues into nutrition for her offspring. This is pure biological sacrifice, one body slowly diminishing so that many others may exist. The tiny eggs hatch into larvae. They have no legs, no eyes, no means of defense. Each life is entirely dependent on the queen. The queen licks the eggs to prevent fungal growth, feeds larvae with secretions from her mouth, regulates temperature using her own body. No sunlight, no sound, only persistent care and silence. After the pupal stage, the first ants emerge. They're smaller and weaker than normal workers. Scientists call them nenitic workers. Yet they open the nest for the first time, forage for food for the queen, care for the next generation. From this moment, the queen is no longer alone. A society has officially been born. This stage determines the survival of the entire colony. A weak queen leads to colony failure, harsh conditions lead to extinction, and success leads to a kingdom lasting decades. It all begins with a solitary being in darkness, believing that life is worth the cost. Part 3 ends here as the first worker footsteps echo, signaling that life has triumphed over darkness.
When the first workers appear, life is no longer fragile. From this point on, the colony enters a new phase: expansion, organization, and operation as a single living entity. Young worker ants begin leaving the nest in small groups. They learn to follow pheromone trails, memorize paths, carry food back to the nest. Each ant understands only a tiny fraction of the world, but together, the colony functions as if it has one shared brain. Scientists call this phenomenon collective intelligence. There are no commands, no maps, only chemical signals and astonishing consistency. As the population grows, the colony naturally differentiates. Workers forage, build, care for larvae soldiers, defend the nest, ready to sacrifice nurses, tend eggs, and pupae queen continues reproducing without rest. Remarkably, no one chooses their role, no one competes. Body structure and environment determine destiny. Each individual is born to do one job and to do it completely. Over time, the nest expands into tunnel networks, nursery chambers, food storage rooms, temperature and humidity control zones, all built with no blueprint, no engineers, no major errors, only millions of repeated actions. Though she is the reproductive center, the queen cannot survive without the colony, and the colony cannot exist without the queen. This is not a master-servant relationship, but a closed loop of survival. The colony sustains the queen creates the colony. When one link breaks, the entire system collapses. At this stage, ants teach us strength does not lie in individuals. Order can emerge without authority. A sustainable society begins with unconditional cooperation. The colony never asks, "What do I gain?" It only asks, "Does this benefit the colony?" Part 4 ends here, when the colony is no longer a collection of individuals, but a unified, living kingdom.
After rapid expansion, the colony enters what seems like a peaceful phase: stability and balance. Yet this is when the most dangerous challenges silently emerge. A healthy ant colony operates like a finely tuned machine. Workers forage steadily, nurses care for new generations, soldiers guard the entrances, the queen reproduces at a measured rhythm. Everything must remain in balance. Too many larvae lead to food shortages. Too few workers cause structural weakness. The life of a colony is a constant equation of balance. As colonies grow, they become targets. Predatory insects, birds and lizards, fungi and harmful bacteria, and natural disasters like floods, landslides, and heavy rain. A single breach in the defense system can cause the collapse of an entire kingdom within hours. At such moments, soldier ants willingly sacrifice themselves, using their own bodies to block entrances and protect the queen and larvae. The most frightening threat does not come from outside, but from within the nest. If the queen grows old, becomes ill, or stops laying eggs, the colony enters a crisis. Some species raise special larvae to become new queens, or slowly disintegrate, accepting the end of their life cycle. The fate of an entire society rests on a single life. During this phase, the colony does not expand. It does not seek new territory. Instead, it withdraws, conserves energy, and focuses on protecting the core of life. From the outside, everything seems still. Inside, life holds its breath. Ants teach us that growth is not always about moving forward. Sometimes survival means slowing down and holding firm. True resilience comes from endurance and adaptation. A colony is not strongest when it is largest, but when it protects what matters most. Part 5 ends here, in the tense silence of a tiny kingdom, standing at the edge between survival and disappearance.
Eventually, the storm passes. If the colony survives, there is no celebration, no victory cry. They simply continue living. Workers return to foraging. Larvae are fed once more. The queen quietly lays eggs in darkness. Seedling life continues not through glory, but through persistence. Years go by, and the queen grows old. The body that once created millions of lives begins to flow. The colony senses the change. Reproductive rhythms shift, pheromone signals weaken, order subtly transforms. Backhand index pointing out for some species, this is the time to prepare a new generation of queens or accept the end, allowing life to return to the soil. Globe showing Europe, Africa, no panic, no resistance, only a natural cycle completing itself. Most ant colonies are born in silence, exist unnoticed, and disappear without being remembered. Yet throughout their lives, they aerate the soil, enrich ecosystems, decompose organic matter, maintain ecological balance. Ant no medals are given to ants, but without them, the world would be far poorer. The reproductive journey and survival of ants offer simple yet profound lessons. Small blue diamond life is not measured by size, but by impact. Small blue diamond, not everyone is born to shine, but everyone has a role. Small blue diamond, a society endures only when the collective outweighs the ego. Seedling sometimes, a meaningful life is not about being remembered, but about helping life continue. The next time you see a tiny ant crossing your path, remember that behind it lies a fatal mating flight, a lonely queen, in darkness, millions of silent sacrifices. Backhand index pointing out the story of ants has no heroes and no villains. Only life, patient, resilient, and never giving up. Ants small enough to be overlooked, yet strong enough to support a world.